Hello, friend, space people of Earth. I hope you're surviving the apocalypse out there and here or wherever in hell we are. I see somebody at a very, very pivotal point in their life where God, religion, spirituality, meaning, purpose, drive, like why you're doing what you're doing is really in the forefront of your mind. You're trying to set a foundation on earth. It's like you've experimented with many different philosophies, which has kind of put you in this primal, this need to rise up within yourself, different versions, different aspects, different deep layered hidden gems that weren't active before. So it's like you're activating parts of your being, primordial self, deep source connection parts of you, and you're learning. So you are definitely a student of self. You're showing up as somebody who gets moving but then gets stuck. You tend to go through these resurrections and journeys, so much so that you're tired, you're exhausted of the lack of movement. You're like, hello, I'm out here learning, I'm out here figuring things out. Like, I'm out here in the darkness, I'm sifting through the night, like mystified. I'm seeing you mystified, like it's like people are walking by and you're just like invisible, like a mist. So it's like you've really went in the depths, in the dark, and you found this really raw version of yourself. And you want to teach something, you want to share, you want to be of purpose, you want to have some level of contribution, you want to be of service. And this martyr card is like, your environment can sometimes play tricks on you where you end up being a martyr, somebody who sacrifices things for others or for reasons that tend to be for what you feel is a greater cause. And then I'm seeing that you're being refined. You're being created to be a teacher. You have just like a fingerprint, just like, why would we all have fingerprints if we weren't here to uniquely express individual perspectives that differ from the next, right? And I'm seeing this resurrection within your mind that's like, you know, I'm a little different. I'm a little, you know, here nor there. I can't quite differentiate and decide where I fit, but I do have a sense. There's something that says I'm going somewhere. And even though I've fallen on my ass a few times, a few more times than I'd like to admit, I'm learning. Sure, I make foolish decisions. I'm not always strategic. I try to come from a pure place, but sometimes I lie to myself and fail. sometimes I seek out the adventure over the longevity and the soul. I get a little too excited, and then my young ego-spirited self tends to take the wheel. And I see somebody, you know, getting lost in the wind, getting lost in the party of life. The beauty here that you have acquired is, this is the Queen of Pentacles, and she is saying, I have aspirations that want to settle me into a place, into a comforted space. I want to be able to see the chaos. I want to be able to visually watch and observe and have a little bit of drama going outside of me. But I want that sense of security. I want to be able to invite people over and not blow the top off. Like, I feel like you've had these volatile experiences that are like, you're wanting to distance yourself from, you're wanting to create a level of honor. You're looking for honor. You want to honor yourself. You want to honor what you know to be God, what you understand, because this God card came out as you. So it's like you understand your divinity in a way, because you're still learning. You're a student, you're a teacher, you're a student. You're always going to be learning if you're in that energy. If you're human, you're going to always be learning. And for this to come out, it's like you're really accessing your connection to your soul and your heart's channel between you and divinity. Your divine course is being presented to you, and you're trying to figure out how not to fall for the okie doke, for the love bombing, even like when you see something and how it's presented to you, not jumping on it and just kind of like testing it a little bit more, being more understanding and open to yourself. Like, it's like you really want to know yourself here. Oh, fireworks. I see you stopping something here, and that being next to each other. So you got the Queen of Pentacles upright and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, the traditional Queen of Pentacles reversed. So it's like the struggle to stay in this new energy is testing. It's like the friends, it's like you have a group of friends back in the past, a day, a week, a year ago, and you get this temptation where you get called back to the wild. You get called back to the old self, that comforting knowingness, like, oh, I know that version of myself. So like, it's easy to go back to that version. But when you do that, and if you do that, you recognize that's abandoning your new self, the person you're becoming, the elevation that you seek. And I also see you identifying red flags within religion, within religion and spiritual circles, and also within relationships and within yourself. Red flags that may scare you. You're like, why do I have these red flags? It's almost like, how do I explain that? it's like if you have characteristics of yourself that you know lead you into not the greatest of situations, and you have this life experience, you're at least 25. Like I feel like. And if you're not, you're quite mature. But you've definitely been wrong. Like, give me a second. So I see here this interesting emotional shift you're going through. It's almost like you have released a version of yourself and opened a version of yourself. And the version that you've opened, you can't quite figure out why it's not, I don't want to say bringing in. It's not developing the character that you know yourself to be. Yeah, because there's still, okay. All right, I see that. So let's talk about the Star card here. I feel like your goal is to be a healer. And ultimately, what we really want is to be healed and whole. So we seek to heal others in a way that fulfills that hole within us, right? We want to feel like we exist, right? For a reason. And there's that peacock. You've got a white peacock, and then you've got this vibrant peacock. You're trying to figure out how to purify yourself in a way that doesn't hide you. Yeah, because you were misty. So you were hiding in the mist, and you still want this low key. You still want it to be low key, but you don't want it to be hidden. Interesting. But you don't want to fall again. You're like, I'm like, you're just kind of like, and then counsel, 11. This is you really going within and saying, I deserve to be here. I deserve to participate and to be an active member on my council. My journey is carved out by me. While I respect my ancestors and my spirit team and the higher powers, whether it's God or my inner God or goddess, my inner God or goddess nature, I want to make sure that just like I am a part of the one, I am a part of the whole, I am also separate and individual and unique enough to be in this manifested physical form that says, I am not just here to be controlled. If there's a creator God-ish type nature, essence being thing, if there's a God thing up there, right? If God, we don't say reverse, or we don't say up there, because it doesn't even make sense. There's no up there, because I'm just looking up in my mind. So if I'm to find divinity within myself, I have to mimic and be like this energy. I have to become like God, meaning when I get presented with a choice to go left or right, I have to learn the self-control that is required to make discerning decisions, to push through the obstacles that send me back to earth. So you're somebody, you're not a fresh soul. Like, I want a number. I want to know like a life path number. I got 1 and 8, so let's say 9. And that's exactly what I was thinking. So you're somebody, so 18 and then like I said, 9. You're somebody who's seen enough to assess your new strategy, your new direction, where you're going. 16. And I see you wanting to dance into this new future. I see you wanting to enjoy the emotional, body. So your next chapter has a lot to do with your emotional body. And you know, some people read a chapter in a day, some people read a chapter over the course of weeks, and some people it's years and months or whatever. So I don't know how long that chapter is for you, but I see you really wanting to do things that are led by your heart. Because the knowledge in the past had you in that misty energy. And this future energy is like, you're really wanting to jump into the unknown with a discerning mind. Ooh, the seer. See, like, the seer sees, if you look closely, right there, you see how that misty, I was talking about misty and like, you just look things you can't really see. You are wanting to be incognito, but known for it. So you have a character you're developing, an avatar. Yes. You're trying to bring a character into reality from the ethereal that you've made up in your imagination or manifested in your soul hierarchy of some kind. This is a very raw and purified, let me think of what that's called. Like an infant being born. It's like you've been human for a certain amount of time, however many years, and you've recognized the diversity and the ability to be anything, right? So here you are, you're like, well, shit, if I can be anything, if I can evaluate myself and what I've learned and where I've been and where I don't like to be and things that get me stuck and things that are fueled by my ego's desire to the point where I make these irrational decisions, keeping me from my earth self, I do want a card for that. I must gestate, if that's a word, gestate. It's like you need to, you need to leave the lower world. Beauty way. Does that sound like a monkey? So look at this child. Look at the child. Look at the child. This is a warrior. Do you hear me? This is somebody who's seen Like this could be a young, that's why when I was like, you've been through it, you must be 25 or older, so you might not be. But you are before your time, and it shows because of your scars. And these scars, if they're not physical, can be what you see, but these scars have you wanting to create and choose a path that represents and shows visually who you are and what you feel on the inside. That's finding, that's deciding and setting what's beautiful to you and ripple affecting it out like however you see it. We're literally creators. You're just trying to express yourself creatively. That doesn't humdrum, boring, stick with the traditional, right? You got child magical, and you got the child. Seeing the sacred, or seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things. The belief that everything is possible with the beauty way. So interesting. You have identified what is beautiful to you, and you're becoming secure in that. You hear a bunch of shoosh on the outside that says what's beautiful, and you're like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I don't fit in with the narrative of the collective or the majority. Or I'm not sure I even care. Like, I'm not sure I even care about what they think at all. Because you're got 11 again. It's a very interesting energy. I guess what we could be cognizant of here is, okay. I'm glad I saw this because I see, and I can't really show you because the light, but it's like you don't want to become greedy and arrogant. You don't want to necessarily be held to any particular label. You're not really following the beat of anybody's drum here. You're quite irritated with it's like I see that you've went deep within your child wounds to a point where you've dismantled your parental, teachers, advisors, everyone's labels of you, and you've shifted your destiny into a direction that says, nobody's going to tell me where I'm going. I am in control of my vessel, my being, how I express it. If I want to be a bad guy, like, I'm going to be a bad guy. I'm going to be whoever you're very determined to be in control. And where that can lead us astray is we can become jaded, right? We can be, my hair. My face itches, I'm sorry. I'm just like trying not to itch my face. Okay. We can become jaded sometimes when we isolate or separate or go too far from knowledge of what we know and try to be so different that our dark side, which we all have, can make us bitter, can make us judgmental or cruel, mean, selfish. Like these, when we're trying to refine our character and really become better people, it's like we can get the big things out of the way. It's like, oh, sure, I used to be insecure. Now I'm confident. Good job, right? Upgraded. But it's like, well, what about selfish? What about being envious, right? There's certain little things we got to still pay attention to because we're always learning. What we're a student. Every teacher needs to be a student of the universe. We need to always be open and accepting to learn more and practicing gratitude and being humble, because there's not one person walking on the planet that's God. It's more like, and I don't know everything, but this is how I'm interpreting this information. So it's more like finding God-like qualities within, because in my opinion, if I'm God, right, I'm creator, I'm not gonna always do good. I'm gonna send electricity lightning bolts at people sometimes and be like I want them to suffer because they act crazy, right? Like I need to shock you into I don't know, awareness. Being aware of weird behaviors. A lot of times people have these behaviors that it's like those that feel they're holier than thou, meaning what I mean by that is they're better than others, right? Because to be holy for me is to separate yourself from honestly good and bad. To be more neutral, to be more in the middle that says, I'm separate from authoritative, religious type of holiness, and I'm separate from wickedness. But somewhere in the middle, I do strive to be good and holy. I do strive to be separate. So it's like, don't actually do whatever you want, but you can, in this energy, fall a little bit more into the dark side at times, or invite drunkenness or indulgence. It's almost like an angel on earth is so bored of earth and they want to go home. So instead of since they have to live out their existence, it's like, well, let me just pass the time by experimenting with dark things as well, just to see what it's like. Like, I'm not evil, but I want to see about this evil stuff, whatever that could be. Dark magic, spell casting, whatever, right? The occult in general tends to have a fair amount of dark origin, right? I mean, that's a simple way to put it. So it's very critical for you to define your character and self based on your perception of when you only see yourself. No one else exists. It's just your world. You're God. 2929. You're God. This is your world. And how are you? Are you going to be benevolent? Are you going to be fair? Are you give a shit about being fair? Are you Is it all love? Is hate important? Is fear important? Like you're deciding what's important in your world and what's beautiful to you, what's truth to you, and imagination. How to bring your imagination and truth together while also staying true to your soul, because your soul has this wisdom that says, I can't live and fully angelic, but I can't live human. You have this like itch for a little bit of darkness. It's almost like you see like the angelic space or heaven-like energy as not enough and pure, or so pure that it's lacking. It's like eating a piece of chicken with nothing on it. That's how you're looking at heaven and angels and spirituality and God and religion, everything that has to do with like that. You're just really looking at it like, no, I gotta add some, like, I need some seasoning, I need some sauce. Like, you wanna fry it a little bit. Like, you don't wanna go too far to where you're extremely unhealthy, but you also don't wanna be so plain and so clear and diluted that you're just pure, with lacking any desire. So you're very much so trying to find this balance. You're trying to dance and skate into this emotional place of what makes you feel good, while also maintaining a strict understanding of what you know now. And sure, revising some things with your counsel and your team, right? That you're connected to, keeping a network, understanding that community and friendship and relationships are important, but they don't run you. They don't authoritate and dictate you, because you know you're this magical child. And a magical child, it doesn't say magical angel. It says magical child. And if anybody knows children, they're equally demonic as they are angelic. And that's because it's a choice. This little middle ground we call Earth is a choice. We can come here and be angels, or we can come here and be demons. We can come here and be a little bit of both. And I feel like you're really straddling and figuring out the both within you, which is beautiful. It's a very, very beautiful thing. Scorpio, I like it. Dark side. We were talking about the dark side. There you are. You're trying to figure out your dark side. You want to understand your dark side. And I think that's healthy. It sounds like you've been a little bit goody two shoes here. When it comes to others, like you've been very giving to others. You've been very of service to others. And now I see you just like dabbling a little bit into the dark arts, just to see what you learn, and then you weigh the feather. You decide how that makes you feel, because you're trusting in your divinity and your connection with God's source, energy, vibration, like that. You're really strengthening your channel with your divine self. So good job. That's what I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.